Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is March 4th, 2021, and today Major League Baseball announced that they will have a new annual holiday for the league, Lou Gehrig Day, where each day it comes around, they will raise money for ALS awareness. Again, Lou Gehrig, the career Yankee who supposedly died from ALS. And I'm not going to speak much on ALS. There's a lot of information out there about what ALS actually might be instead of what Western medicine promotes it as being. And again, you have to realize, well, first of all, you have to realize you're in a day where you're on eggshells and you can't even say anything because it'll get taken down as medical misinformation. But for most of us, we know. We've been to the doctor. The doctor really doesn't have a clue about anything. They shrug their shoulders and say, here, try some of these pills we just got in. Maybe that'll help you out. Again, pretty much everything that's wrong with us that we die from in huge numbers every single day in the U.S., way bigger numbers than COVID, is from the toxicity in our body, from the foods we eat, from the air we breathe, from the water we drink. We are chemically poisoned in a bunch of ways. And again, a lot of these recent illnesses that have been invented truly are a cover-up for what's really going on. And you can just break it down to chemical poisoning. So, again, if you want to take care of yourself in this world, exercise, eat as many leafy green vegetables as you can. And that's not iceberg lettuce. It's things more like spinach and kale. And also, one really easy way to clean out your system is to buy things like cilantro and parsley. Because if you read about cilantro and parsley, they clean toxins and metals from your body pretty much better than anything else does. And the thing about cilantro and parsley is they don't cost a whole lot. So with that said, I want to show you why they're doing what they're doing with Lou Gehrig Day this year and why this year and how this is another money-making scam, Just like when the NFL has all of its players wear pink and tell you to donate to breast cancer, and they make millions upon millions of dollars, and then nothing changes. And you go to the grocery store when the NFL is doing this, and they got pink ribbons all over the cancer-causing food products. They make you feel good about buying these things that cause cancer so that you end up with cancer, and they tell you a percentage of your cost towards that toxic food will go towards cancer research. This is all part of a big sick joke. The most profitable part of every grocery store is the pharmacy section. Of course, they want to get you sick with the food. So again, you guys have to stop giving your money to these scams is also what I'm saying. These scams are just that. They are scams. They're not taking your money and putting it towards medical research to overcome disease and illness. That is the complete lie. These are big organizations essentially assessing a tax on the public and preserving their class system, the super wealthy, the super rich, and everybody else. And of course, the everybody else is the group of people who learn from the super rich because they learn from their textbooks that they created, their news that they put out each night. And that's why they're a bunch of know-nothings getting suckered and conned by very powerful con men every single day. So let's go over Lou Gehrig Day that they've announced for June 2nd, which will be the anniversary of his death. Again, who runs the world? The same people who gave us the calendar. That's why we're on their time, the Catholic Church. We're on the Catholic calendar. Everybody should really think about that. And remember, whose language are we speaking worldwide? We're speaking their language. The same Catholic Church gave us the English language, and they encoded the calendar and the language, which were pretty much given to the world at the same time at the end of the 16th century, decades after the Jesuits began serving the Catholic Church, who had all this esoteric knowledge, who brought in the understanding of Kabbalah, where this whole letters and numbers thing comes together. But again, when you learn this code, you start to see how these rituals really come together and who's really pulling the strings. And before we go any further, if you think this is all bullshit, I challenge you to download my book for free. If you think it's all bullshit, that's why I made the book free, so you can read it. Just go to my Patreon page in the description, patreon.com/Zachary K. Hubbard. You'll go to the Patreon page, just scroll down a little ways to December 24th, 2020, Christmas Eve, and you can download this entire book for free, and you can download my first book for free, too. They're both there. And anyway, in that book, I give the example of, the Jesuit Anthony Fauci throwing out the first pitch in the coronavirus season for the Yankees in the game where Garrett Cole made his debut, Remember, the name Fauci equals 95, like how the Jesuits were created to counter the 95 Theses and recognized by Rome on September 27th, the day leaving 95 days left in the year. And Fauci threw out the first pitch in the coronavirus season, Mr. Coronavirus himself. And Garrett Cole again made his debut in that game and got his 95th career win. He made his debut with the Yankees. And he was signed in the offseason on his 95th day of his age. And none of that was arbitrary. It was all Jesuit ritual, because this is how the Jesuits operate every single day. But notice, Jesuit order is 153. Lou Gehrig died on the 153rd day of the year. Keep in mind that's also the 17th triangular number, and kill equals 17. Notice the name Gehrig alone is 54. Again, if you're new here, in Chapter 1, you learn the 4 base ciphers, which are what we always talk about. The alphabetic order forwards, backwards, and forwards and backwards with the rules of numerology. It's very simple. It's basic addition. You could truly teach this to a first grader. But Gehrig's got that Gematria 54, like Jesuit order, like MLB. And I don't know why I didn't put the word baseball up there. Here. You know what? Let's just take a minute to go over the Gematria baseball. Again, there's 54 outs in a complete game. 54 outs in a complete game. Baseball's 54 with the most simple cipher. It's also 54 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse with the rules of numerology. You see how baseball's 162 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, like how many games there are in a season? And then the 18, that matters because there's 18 half innings in a game. Each team, gets an at-bat and 3 outs to make in the field. 18 half innings, 9 total innings. You'll notice all of these numbers have numerology of 9 because 9 represents completion. This is how it was decided for the numbers and rules of baseball. And notice if you write out Major League Baseball with the alphabetic order, it's also 162. You see the 351, that's the 26th triangular number. That's because game is 26. The game is God for so many. The phrase ball game is also 26. But Major League Baseball, you see the 117? November 7th is the day leaving 54 days left in the year. They perform rituals with all these numbers. The other year it was Roy Halladay dying in a plane crash off the coast of Holiday, Florida on November 7th, the day leaving 54 days left in the year, the 2-time Cy Young winner. The other year, June 3rd, you had the first no-hitter of the season thrown by a Miami Marlin, and that was the year after the death of the Marlin in the boating accident. And it was all synced up. There's a big ritual to it. But June 3rd is the 154th day of the year. And that matters because the original baseball season was 154 games, and baseball was credited to the Freemason Abner Doubleday. And understand, modern Freemasonry was created by the Jesuits, so it's all part of the same network. It's why Washington, D.C. is the land of the Jesuits, where the Scottish Rite also is. But on that June 3rd day, the 154th day of the year, the MLB had its first no-hitter of the season, and it set the record for most Grand Slams in a single day. There were 7 that day between all the games that were played. Grand Slams also 154. So just understand, it's all ritual. It's all scripted on the field, off the field, ritual murder, rigged games. And again, for any of you who have Netflix, I'm pretty sure the Ken Burns documentary is still on there, Baseball. It's in one of the early episodes where Ken Burns, going through the history of baseball, he gets the quote from Spalding, the name on the balls, and he says that the early days of baseball, the word was conspiracy because every game was rigged and scripted to create a narrative and to make it exciting so that people would be interested in this new sport, baseball. The word was conspiracy. Do you think anything changed since then? No, it's all still the same. It's all narrative. It's all rigging. Got to keep you in your seat till the end of the game so you watch all the commercials. Anyway, Gehrig 54, Jesuit Order 54, MLB 54, and again, just in case you have amnesia, baseball 54 and 2 out of the 4 ciphers, 162 also like the number of games in a season. Keep in mind that 18 is a special one because IHS is 18, which is the Jesuit acronym. And hold on, my mom's calling in. She's a big baseball fan. Let me see if she's watching or if she's calling about something else. Are you calling in for the live stream right now?
I was just going to say, if you have time, anybody listening to the highwire.com, listen to how NYU is punishing Professor, what's his first name? Something Crispin Miller.
Oh, Mark Crispin Miller. Okay, yeah, Mark Crispin Miller. Okay.
Yeah, what they're doing to him because some student complained. Anyway, it's interesting. So it's on today, Thursday, 11 o'clock p.m. Pacific time.
All right. All right.
Okay.
Thanks for the heads up.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Bye. I thought she was going to tell her story about jumping over the fence to rob the home run. Anyway. IHS is the Jesuit acronym. It's got that 18, and of course, this is all to raise some money. So we'll get to that in just a moment. But Lou Gehrig's name's also got the 42 like Jesuit, but look at his full name, Henry Louis Gehrig, right? 79. Society of Jesus, 79. You see how many seasons he played? 17. 17. What did we just say about that? Jesuit orders 153. It's the 17th triangular number. You add 1 through 17 together, it equals 153. And again, big number here with the Jesuits. Remember, the pandemic for coronavirus was declared on the 79th day of Anthony Fauci being 79 years old, the Jesuit-educated man who said at Jesuit Georgetown on January 10th, 2017, that there'd be a surprise outbreak and pandemic in the time of the Trump administration, like he was some kind of fortune teller. Again, it's because we're living out agendas. Notice also, ALS Ice Bucket Challenges 79. And remember when this was the big phenomenon in 2014? Remember everybody, getting on their social media, dumping a bucket of water over their heads? Some people bragging about how much money they donated. Has anyone heard about any progress since the hundreds of millions of dollars were raised that summer? And then they did it again the next summer, and they raised like $100 million. It wasn't as much, but still, it's a lot of money. And has anyone heard about any progress in ALS? Any progress with all the big money raised? Isn't it weird how year after year people just donate millions upon millions of dollars to all these things and there's just no progress every year, but people are still truly dumb enough to donate another dollar? Again, you guys, it's because it's all lies and this is all thieving of the public. It's just another tax on the idiots. Just like the lottery's a tax on the idiots. Those big pots that those big pots of money when they get everybody to go on, but nobody wins that. Those are frauds, those people they get up there. Half the time it's some anonymous person, but anyway, you guys, all of this is just about stealing wealth from the populace to maintain the super class, and these are all the ways they do it. Invent a new disease illness, rename a disease illness, give it a new name, make it sound even deadlier in their media that they control, and then tell you they need to raise even more money to combat it and never do nothing about it. If they wanted you to have the truth, they would just get on there and they'd broadcast. They'd say, you know what, we've been lying to you all these years about cancer and all these things, and all you really need to do is this, this, and this, and not do this, this, and this. They don't do that, though, because that would really hurt their bottom line. Okay, so anyway, big Society of Jesus numbers. Notice how Ice Bucket alone is 79 and 56, like Society of Jesus is 56 and 79, and they've done about a bazillion rituals with these numbers with coronavirus as well, because, again, the Jesuits control the world of information, from what's in the news to what we understand about politics to what we pretty much understand about everything. These are the people who write the textbooks. This is why you have a world of know-nothing doctors. And it really is that. I mean, my brother-in-law is a doctor. The guy's a know-nothing. And again, I'll remind people, this is a real quote. Back in the 90s, when I changed my diet because I read about a plant-based diet, back in the 90s, he used to call it the faggot diet. He'd say, why are you doing that faggot diet? And this is a medical doctor, practicing doctor, well-known doctor in Portland, Oregon. Why are you doing that faggot diet? Well, a decade later, guess what diet he was on? A plant-based diet. And you know why? Because he had so many surgeries, because his back kept going out on him and his knees kept going out on him. Next thing you knew, he was eating the plant-based diet that he once called the faggot diet. And again, just another know-nothing doctor, just following what he's told, prescribe this. These people don't know anything about anything. They don't know anything about anything. I have to get my videos taken down for putting out medical misinformation when I'm healthier than 99% of the public. Most people think I'm 30 years old. I'm nearly 40. Anyway. So realize, last year, June 2nd, 2020, was the 79-year anniversary of his death, right? And now on his next death anniversary, they're going to start raising money on this day, Lou Gehrig Day, to raise money for ALS awareness. And again, they're going to raise money for something that almost nobody knows anything about, right? It's like this mysterious thing. It's just from food toxicity, poisons in the body. But anyway, raising money, right, on the 80-year anniversary of his death. Now remember, the Bavarian Illuminati was established May 1st, 1776 by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. And notice the Gematria Bavarian Illuminati, 188 and 80. So on the 80-year anniversary, they're going to start raising money. And think about the U.S. dollar bill denominations. They are the 1, the 2, the 5, the 10, the 20, the 50, the 100. And when you add up the U.S. dollar bill denominations, they equal 188. MLB also has the Gematria of 18 and 27, like money's got the Gematria of 18 and 27. Again, like IHS is 18. Lou Gehrig played his entire career with the Yankees. Yankees have won 27 World Series. And money's also 63, like Major League and Major League Baseball. And again, that's the magic of the base ciphers. Money's 63 when you're on the alphabetic order in reverse. It's also 72, like Jesuit order. But with regards to the 63, again, Major League is 63. And Major League Baseball is also 63. And you see how Major League's 108? There's 108 double stitches on a baseball. Comes from geometry. It's a special number with geometry. But remember, before the 112th MLB season began, I guaranteed the Cubs would break the 108-year drought. And at the end of the regular season, we said why they would do it against the Cleveland Indians, because 108 double stitches is the 216 stitches, and Cleveland's the 216 area code. And there's also the movie Major League with Charlie Sheen about the Indians. And by the way, this year will be the last year of the Indians having that name because it's racist like the Redskins. And it is pretty, the Indians logo is pretty messed up. But what's funny is this year's MLB season from the start to the finish is 216 days. 216 days season. And last year, the 216 Cleveland Indians. Okay. So, with regards to all of this being Jesuit ritual, what year is it? It's 21, right? So, in 21, they're going to start the scam for ALS, Jesuit 21. And look at what day that... I need to look more into this Mayo Clinic. That's the next thing to research here. But Gehrig flew alone from Rochester to Rochester from Chicago, where the Yankees were playing at the time, and arrived at the Mayo Clinic on June 13th, 1939. After 6 days of intensive testing at the clinic, doctors confirmed that the diagnosis of ALS on June 19th, his 36th birthday. But June 13th, you guys, that's the day leaving 201 days left in the year. That's the big number with the Jesuits. And again, Adam Weishaupt, after he founded the Bavarian Illuminati, he renamed it Order of Illuminati, which is 201. And again, he's a Jesuit. And remember, he ended up dying November 18th, 1830. That's 201 days after the establishment of the Bavarian Illuminati, renamed Order of Illuminati, May 1st. Big number. Just like how Event 201, with all the Jesuits who are benefiting from this, was the coronavirus outbreak simulation, which was the same day the military World Games began in Wuhan, China. And again, those World Games were created by the Jesuits in Rome and started in 95, just like how the Jesuits were credited to counter the 95 Theses. It's just also transparent how all this comes together. Not to mention Wuhan, China equals 102, like Art of War, the Jesuit translated text by Sun Tzu, when the Jesuit logo's the sun. But anyway, his diagnosis for ALS started on the day leaving 201 days left in the year. If you write out the Jesuit order, it's also 69 in the base ciphers, like Lou Gehrig Day. Catholic Church is another 69. If you go to the Wikipedia page for the Ice Bucket Challenge, you'll see the big image they have at the top is a guy dumping a bucket of water over his head, and you can clearly see the fleur-de-lis on the bucket, the Catholic symbol. Johnny Cerrucci always calling Wikipedia Vatipedia. He thinks it's all edited from the Vatican. It might be, who knows? But, and somebody will be out there, anyone can edit Wikipedia. Yeah, have you ever done that, moron, and see how fast it gets edited back to what they want there? Some people are real dummies. Anyway, this happened on his 36th birthday, right? The diagnosis, IHS 36,666, the 36th triangular number. New York is 666 in Sumerian Gematria. Again, we're talking about the lifelong Yankee. And the Ice Bucket Challenge I remember one of my buddies in the summer of 2014 was boasting that he had donated $10,000 on his Facebook page. I was like, what a moron. He was born into money. His dad owns a bunch of gas stations and whatnot. Anyway, the two guys who supposedly founded the Ice Bucket Challenge, Pete Freites and Pan Quinn. Remember, Pete Freites just died at age 34, and it's funny that they make this announcement on March 4th, 3-4. 34 he died at, 3-4 announcement. Anyway, Pete Freites, his name's got the Gematria 56, like Society of Jesus. No, Society of Jesus got the 191 and 187 like New York Yankees. That's why they opened up the season last year, the coronavirus season. Don't forget coronavirus is 56 like Anthony Fauci, like Society of Jesus, like Washington, D.C. But they opened up the season, big Jesuit ritual. And again, another season we nailed dead on before the season even began. Had Dodgers winning the World Series and then beating the Braves in the NLCS, and we weren't far off in the American League with our playoff predictions. Anyway, you just see the numbers. The New York Yankees connect to Society of Jesus. Pete Freites, 56, 79. We were just talking about that with Lou Gehrig himself and how they let his 79th death anniversary pass before they announced this new fundraiser in his name. So Henry Lou Gehrig, Society of Jesus, ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, Ice Bucket, it's all got the numbers. And as for the other guy, Pat Quinn, his name's 112, like Catholicism, like mathematics, like how the Jesuits claim to operate in 112 nations. So what are the odds that these two guys have these two number connections? You know, like would it have worked out if I was one of the founders? Let's see. Well, you could make, I do have the 78 in my name. What about my full name? Let's see. Wouldn't work with my full name, but I do have that 78, so some things could be coincidental, but again, both guys having these two key numbers to the Jesuits, very unlikely, especially since the one guy's name is the exact same as Ice Bucket. Pete Freites, 56, Ice Bucket, 56, Society of Jesus, 56. And also interesting, from the leader of the Jesuits, Arturo Sosa, from his 72nd birthday today to today's announcement, 112 days. Keep in mind he's 72 right now, because again, Jesuit order is 72. Jesuit order is 72, and this is to raise money. Money 72. And remember, what's all over our money? You know, Latin, and Latin is the language of Rome, and the Jesuits serve Rome. Again, it's really not that hard to put together when you start to think about it. If this picture is too small, here, let me see if I can zoom it in and make it bigger. That's as big as I can make it on my computer screen. But, you know, if you have a smartphone, which most of you do, if you're having trouble making out this, just go to the Wikipedia page, take a picture of it, and then you know how you can edit the photo and flip it around. You'll see that that is very clearly a fleur-de-lis, the Catholic symbol. And you can also see the cross down at the bottom here, too. I'm not sure if it's a fire department that has that, like it's New Orleans Fire Department or something, because, of course, the fleur-de-lis is all over New Orleans, but I don't think Wikipedia chose that image out of the millions they could have chosen from by accident. Okay, so Lou Gehrig Day, June 2nd, announced at 7:02 a.m. You know, they're coming for the money, 72. And keep in mind, Gehrig did wear the number 4. 4 is associated with death. And that's how they exploit everybody, right? They make everything about death. You could die for ALS. I mean, those are pretty much their two tactics on everything. Scare you with the fear of death, whether it's brown men in turbans who could be coming out of caves and could be in any community crossing the border, you know, after 9/11, or now it's, you know, anybody could be a carrier of the deadly coronavirus. Good thing you don't have to worry about the flu anymore, though. And never mind that the symptoms are the exact same. But, again, it's just they control people with fear, and then they exploit them by making them feel like they're doing something good if they give their money towards these causes. You know, it's just like every day. It doesn't matter what channel you turn on. There's a million Shriners commercials. They got, like, little, you know, munchkins and, you know, people with birth defects and, you know, speech impediments saying, please donate some money to the Shriners. I mean, Shriners is all masonry, you guys. You start to look at who controls all the hospitals in America. It's all secret societies. Most of the hospital chains in the United States come out of Yale Skull and Bones, and that's a fact. Skull and Bones gets their symbolism from the Knights Templar who served the Catholic Church. You start to realize pretty much everything in this nation that has influence, that controls us, all roads lead to Rome. And again, they're just trying to exploit people. I mean, commercial, if it's not that commercial, then it's like ones with like dogs that are like missing their hair and fleas and donate to this to help out these animals. How much of your money do you think's even really making it to any of these causes? I guarantee you it's almost none. Just trying to exploit you, scare you, and make you feel like you're doing something good by sending your money to some people you don't know who have the clout to advertise. And realize how expensive those advertisements are. But it's just all siphoning wealth from the public. I also noticed that the day that they're going to do this, it's 147 days to the start of the World Series. The World Series starts this year on October 26th. That's the day in history the Yankees won their 26th World Series. Remember, game is 26. Major League Baseball's 351, the 26th triangular number. But again, Lou Gehrig played for the Yankees. So, he's a Yankee, synced up with the start date, which was a big date in history for the Yankees. It's also 21 weeks, the Jesuit number. That doesn't mean the Yankees are going to be in the World Series, but I don't think it's an accident that things work out that way. And again, World Series has that gematria of 147 and 57. Lou Gehrig Days also got the 57 in it when you run it in reverse. And June 2nd, 2021 will also be a date with 49 numerology, and ALS is 49. So, to go over some other events in history. Remember when Stuart Scott died at age 49, right before Super Bowl 49? Stuart Scott, booyah, from ESPN. Coincidentally dead at 49, right before the Super Bowl. NFL's 49, Super Bowl's 49. Tom Brady beat the Seahawks from Washington State that year. But then it was sometime after that, they had a tribute game at his school, UNC. And UNC got wasted 74-49 in the Stuart Scott tribute game. And USC normally putting up a bunch of points. I mean, very unlikely for them to only score 49 in a game. But just the point I'm making is understand how all this stuff is ritual, you guys. It's not an accident that Stuart Scott died at 49 right before Super Bowl 49. His story of his cancer battle was a long time, and then he just happened to die right before the Super Bowl. And he died 28 days before the Super Bowl. And do you remember how many points the Patriots scored? I do. They scored 28 points. Stuart Scott died 28 days before Super Bowl 49. The word kill is 28. And now that I think about it, isn't Seattle 107? Yeah, it is. Seattle's 107, the 28th prime. So the Patriots scored 28, and then the Seahawks went down with their 24. They like that number, the Seahawks. But, that was an example. Stephen A. Smith, his mother, and again, we're talking about just ESPN sports guys. His mother died right at the start of the NBA Finals on June 1st on 6-1. Her name, Janet Smith, was 61, like finals. Janet Smith also 38, like finals. And what was weird is Stephen A. Smith didn't even seem broken up about it at all. It's like, does this guy even really have a mom? He's also out of the North Carolina area. I think he went to school in Winston-Salem, if I remember right, Stephen A. Smith. Born in New York, but just where he went to school. A lot of sports reporters, for whatever reason, are out of the North Carolina area. So, remember Chris Paul? How his grandfather supposedly died at 61, and then he scored 61 points on the day that he signed to go to Wake Forest in Winston-Salem? That was a big story at the time. But realize, all this stuff is to bring awareness to like disease and illness, right? And then raising money in the name of Stuart Scott, raising money in the name of Jimmy V. All these things have just been rituals over the years. But coming back to Pete Frates, the main founder of the Ice Bucket Challenge, he died at 34. And then today on March 4th, we get this announcement. Oh yeah, today's also the 63rd day of the year. So again, money's 63, they're raising money, right? And again, Major League is 63, and Major League Baseball is 63. We were just talking about this. So today's announcement comes on the 63rd day of the year. Major League Baseball's got the new thing to raise money for ALS. You think at the games they're going to be serving healthier things this year to help prevent, disease and illness? You think they're going to have a lot more, kale salads up at the, The concession window. Well, will there even be any concession windows open? I guess with all the corona. But anyway, this guy died at 34. And again, Ice Bucket in the most pure ciphers, 34. And I guess that's probably part of the reason the announcement's today, March 4th as well. But Ice Bucket and Murder got that perfect Gematria overlap. He died just shy of his 35th birthday. By the way, tomorrow, the head of the Holy See, the Catholic Church, Catholics 35, Holy See's 35. Tomorrow on March 5th. It's probably March 5th already there. They might be doing it right now. But look at this. Just with regards to these same numbers, Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope. His birthday is December 17th, Saturnalia. He's going to Babylon. He's going to Babylon on March 5th. That's 78 days after his birthday, which is Jesuit, but it's also his 79th day of his age, Pope Francis. And again, in case you don't know Pope Francis' birthday, like I do off the top of my head, it is December 17th. The first day is Saturnalia. While he's 84, Jesuit 84, 78 days after his birthday in 21, or on his 79th day of his age. He's going back to where it all goes back to. And don't forget, it's not an accident that Babylon is 71, just like Catholic. Not an accident at all. Whore of Babylon. Also 71, which is what the Catholic Church is. The one with all the occult knowledge and the dominance over the world. Well, this guy, Pete Freights, born in 84, dead at 34, dead 19 days before his birthday, Ice 19. And Pete Freights, he's got the 115 and 43 as well. I guess you could write today's date, March 4th, also as 4/3. But Masonic's got the 115 and 43. Remember, the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite shares the Ad Merum de Gloriam motto with the Jesuits. And France is also 115. The Scottish Rite came to power in France. The Jesuits were founded in France. But there's multiple ways to spell Ad Merum de Gloriam. Here, I'll just show you this real quick. Ad Merum de Gloriam. That's the most common way, but hold on. There are other ways to spell it. And I think it's this way right here that has the 115 connection. Hold on. Got to take these accents off. Let me see if I got that right. Yeah. So, Ad Merum de Gloriam, 115. Just like Masonic, just like France. And again, the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite. Notice how Scottish is 32. There's 32 sun rays on the Jesuit logo. Words like America are 32. The nation's capital has the Scottish Rite headquarters there. The Jesuits have been there longer than the feds. Again, just how all this stuff comes together. It's all related. Masonry, modern Freemasonry was created by the Jesuit order. But he's got these numbers in his name. And he died in Boston, this guy. The Yankees' rival. Biggest rivalry in sports. He died on the day leaving 22 days left in the year. So look at that. The guy who started the Ice Bucket Challenge for ALS 22, dead in Boston on the day leaving 22 days left in the year. And it is fair to say this, the plural for Jesuits is also 22. There's a lot of Jesuits in Washington, 50, like Jesuits in America. Another 50, the land of 50 states and a million colonies. And, yeah, so, again, it's just like, if this guy died, I'm sure he was off by the numbers, but then another part of me is like, did he even really die? Is this even a real person, or is this the made-up character for the Ice Bucket Challenge? And then just to bring more sympathy and attention, they just put out the national news, and maybe now he doesn't have to ride around in a wheelchair in public pretending like he has ALS. It could be either one, and neither one would surprise me. Again, we're talking about frauds here, liars, people that have no decency, and just scam and manipulate people day after day. So with regards to the Jesuit control over America's understanding of science, health, medicine, look into this guy right here, Charles Gordon Zubrod. And notice what day he died, January 19th. Date written 19/1, like 191 in the majority of the world. Society of Jesus 191. Again, we were talking about the New York Yankees with Lou Gehrig with the 191. It's also the 43rd prime. Yeah, that's also the 43rd prime, and today can be written 4/3. That's probably part of the reason they're announcing it today, too. But look into this guy right here, Charles Gordon Zubrod. By the way, the second superior general of the Jesuits, Diego Lainez, who was the Jew who converted to Catholicism, he became the superior general on January 19th in history. But this guy received a big award in 1972 for his contributions to the field of chemotherapy and cancer. And again, like they say, if the cancer doesn't kill you, the chemotherapy definitely will. And again, just who named these things? Remember, cancer in the most simple cipher is 44, like chemo is 44, like kill is 44. But if you look through this guy right here, he went to Georgetown Preparatory School, Jesuit school. He went to Holy Cross, just like Anthony Fauci, Jesuit school. And he worked at the Johns Hopkins, which was created by the Skull and Bones member, Daniel Coit Gilman. And then he also taught at St. Louis University, which is another Jesuit school. St. Louis University. There's only 27 Jesuit universities in the nation, you guys. He went to 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. Georgetown, Holy Cross, and St. Louis University. And when you just read the track record, he became clinical director of the National Institutes of Health in 1954. What did we just say about 1954 and the Jesuits and what they're doing with this whole thing with ALS? Jesuit Order 1954, right? Got the award in 1972. And it's just like last year. Remember Adolfo Nicolas, the Superior General of the Jesuits, died. His name's 1954 and 1972, like Jesuit Order. The 225, he died on the day, leaving 225 days left in the year, May 20th, 2020. The 126 is big with the Jesuits. They simulated the election on June 12th, 12/6, 144 days before the election. In the simulation, it becomes President Biden, which is 144, like Jesuit Order. I mean, again, that's why you got to know the ciphers forwards and backwards. And anyway, 1954, director of the National Institutes of Health. And then in 56, he became the head of the Division of Cancer Treatment. Wow, in 56, huh? No wonder. No wonder things are so fucked up here. Remember, what's the Catholic Church really about? Are they really about helping people, reaching them their spiritual pinnacle? Is that ever what it's been about? No. Never was about that. It was always about controlling people and accumulating vast amounts of wealth, which is on display at the Vatican. You know, one of the fanciest buildings ever built, you know, which clearly embodies the message of Jesus Christ, right? Because Jesus Christ lived in a big old palace adorned with jewels. You know, I'm sure Jesus would have went with the whole chemo model. Fry people. We'll fry the cancer out of you. Anyway, and okay, again, he became the head of the Division of Cancer Treatment at the National Cancer Institute in 56 and science director in 61. I'm sure in 61 that was definitely to serve Jesus because as we know, Jesus is 61, cross is 61, church is 61, Christian 61, Christmas 61. Remember where the whole 61 thing comes from. Roger Maris, the Yankee, hit 61 home runs in 1961. 61's the 18th prime. IHS is 18. You know, baseball is 18 as well. But where 61 comes from is what God is in sacred geometry. In sacred geometry, the flower of life is made out of 61 overlapping circles. And then in the middle of it is the other spiritual symbol, the fruit of life, which is made out of 13 overlapping circles, which should remind you of Jesus and his 12 homeboys or disciples, but or constellations in the sun. Anyway. Okay. So what else this guy's credited with is discovering chloroquine. And think about how much we heard about chloroquine in the time of the Big 56 or coronavirus pandemic. He left the National Cancer Institute in 74. I think that means and again, remember what 74 is as well. So 61 and 74, huh? Guy that's a member of the Society of Jesus. 13 years later. So, yeah, I mean, and you just go through the world of medicine. I mean, seriously, start to trace all these major hospital chains in the U.S. Nearly every single one traces back to Yale and Skull and Bones. And, hey, by the way, with regards to cancer in 56, the racist fat fuck slob Rush Limbaugh, who started out on 56 radio stations, died 56 days after his last broadcast. And his last broadcast was December 23rd. Dead February 17th. And remember, he came out with his cancer diagnosis one day after Super Bowl 54 concluded, won by the Kansas City Chiefs, which was synced up with the Kansas City Royals winning the World Series by the numbers. Remember, it was 222 weeks from the Royals winning the World Series to the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. And, you know, connecting baseball with Super Bowl 54, Patrick Mahomes' dad was a professional baseball player. So, but anyway, Limbaugh used to call games for the Royals, comes out one day after the Chiefs, and ends up dying 17/2 after the Chiefs losing the Super Bowl. And again, Kansas City Chiefs is 172, and that Jesuit motto, Ad Maiorem Dei Gloriam, is 172 as well. And it's also 116 like Tampa, Florida, and again, 116th World Series Tampa was in it. Tom Brady's full name's 116. All these things are connected. Anyway, just for another clear Jesuit ritual, recently in sports, John Tompkins, his death, I think, was ultimately blamed on cancer, but remember, he died at age 78 on a Sunday, and he was the first black coach to win the NCAA championship, and he did that at Jesuit Georgetown in 1984, and again, died on a Sunday. Jesuit and Sunday have all the same gematria in 3 out of the 4 ciphers, won it in 84, dead at 78 on a Sunday, and he died on a date with 78 numerology as well, August 30th, 2020. And again, Jesuits, Knights Templar, Skull and Bones, they're pretty much all the same thing. If it's not Jesuit control over medicine, it's Skull and Bones control. And again, the founder of the Johns Hopkins University, and that's what they call themselves, the Johns Hopkins University, 322, like the number of Skull and Bones. The founder of Johns Hopkins, which is giving us all the numbers for the coronavirus. The founder was Daniel Coit Gilman, whose birthday is July 6, 76. And again, his name's 76, like Skull and Bones. George W. Bush, the last Skull and Bones president, his birthday is also July 6th. Guy I like to call Uncle Numbnuts. So. Oh, and from his birthday to his death, Daniel, or no, hold on. Oh, John Hopkins, excuse me, this is the actual John Hopkins. From his birthday to his death was 7 months and 6 days. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? So, just realize from your sports to your medicine, it's all controlled by the same people. It's all done the same simple way with the simple code of letters and numbers and dates, which apparently they thought nobody would ever figure out. There's always some dummy who comes through, who watches the video for the first time, is like, if it's so simple, why do they do it then? He's probably drooling out of his mouth while he types. Just got off the short bus. It's like, did you figure it out, retard? No, you didn't. Did anybody else? You know, sorry. Not to gloat, but it was just me. It was only me who figured it out, and that's just a fact, and put it out for the world to see. And why did I figure it out? Because I always knew there was something up with numbers and news and in ritual, and it became very clear on 9/11, and it was only a matter of time. So, you know, if you donated to the Ice Bucket Challenge, I'd see if you can figure out a way to get your money back. And better than that, what you really should do is get on Free to Find Truth, organize with the people in your community, get your pitchforks out, and let's overthrow these people, you know. Let's overthrow these people. Enough with their tyranny, enough with being content with the world they made for you, enough parking yourself on your ass, eating their, you know, crunchy snacks in a bag and their tasty sugary beverages while you watch their rigged, you know, sports games or their shit programming or whatever it is you enjoy doing in your time. the American pastime, sitting on your ass, eating stuff, watching bullshit. And I guess it's that I never really partook in those types of things, which is probably also why I figured out this stuff. I never let the TV mind control me. Didn't waste my days just shoveling stuff into my mouth that I didn't need. And, I'm all the better for it. So, each one, teach one. Let me see if there's anything else I need to say before I sign off here. Oh, yeah. Sweet Ladies Country yesterday, 3-3, supposedly the deadliest days of the Jesuit overthrow. And again, just look into what's going on in Myanmar. Their makeshift government was overthrown after 33 years. And what day was it set up? It was set up on September 27th, which is the day the Jesuits are recognized by Roman history. And again, the Jesuits control the world. They're responsible for the world wars. They're responsible for carving up all these nations, giving them the new names. You look at these countries, they're not that old. They were all made after the wars. But anyway, they said 38 were killed. Sweet lady, her Facebook is different than any of ours. She's got all these Burmese people, and Burmese people are not afraid of gruesome stuff. They like to share it on their wall. There's some really bad stuff happening to people over here. People really are getting massacred. I'm sure way more than 38 people died, honestly. Just from what she was scrolling through last night, I mean, there was all sorts of nastiness. But they reported 38 dead in the deadliest day yet. And we know why they reported 38. Again, that's the big murder number. War is legalized murder. And, Myanmar is a nation that's where the people have been disarmed. They have no rights. And the military does. But Murder by Numbers, the movie poster, 3883. Murder 38 and 83. Again, the song Murder by Numbers in 83. Killing Death, R.I.P. Gematria, English, Kabbalah, Jew, it's all 38. Again, all of this comes from Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah. Look up the song Gematria, the killing name by Slipknot. The first member of that band to die died at age 38. But just always these numbers with death, 38. So they got to report that the deadliest days, 38 dead, when really, I'm sure there was a lot more than that. And you see how they emphasize the phrase war zone? Again, if you read the article, it said this happened Wednesday, which was March 3rd, 3-3. But war zones got the 33, like war games, like act of war. And again, this is history repeating itself. This same thing happened in Myanmar, which was formerly called Burma, 33 years ago. So, of course, the deadliest day ends up being 3-3. And remember, the nation got overthrown on 2-1. And again, go to my Twitter page. Go to what I posted in the opening moments of January 1st, 2021. I said the 3 words of the year are Jesuit, J, evil, E, and war. And that's because they all equal 21. And J-E-W, I might have put something else in there, not by accident. So, because again, don't forget who the Jesuits are. They converted to Catholicism. So, yeah. I think that's all I want to cover for now. Oh, Elon Musk's rocket exploded. Everybody loves an explosion. I mean, is this stuff even really happening? Or is this like Hollywood? But on 3-3, this happened yesterday on 3-3. The SpaceX Mars prototype rocket nails landing but then explodes. And anyway, on 3-3, look into the history of the space program and the Masons. And remember, the Jesuits created modern Freemasonry. It's all connected. But Masonry, secrecy, order, federal, they're all 33 in the most pure cipher. Explosions got the Gematria 42 and 48 like Freemason. Jesuits got the Gematria 42 and 84. And this happened 8 months and 4 days into Elon Musk's age. He's 49 right now as well. Scottish is 49. And again, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry has the shrine at their headquarters in D.C. Remember their headquarters in D.C., the House of the Temple, has 33 pillars on the outside that are each 33 feet tall. And again, that's the Scottish Rite headquarters. They have the shrine, though, to NASA in there. You can take the tour. I haven't taken it myself, but I've watched it online. I've shown it before. And they talk about how nearly every astronaut in NASA's history has been a Freemason. Keep in mind, March 3rd is also the 62nd day of the year, and Mason alone is 62. And that's also why Floyd is 62 and police is 33 and masonry's 33 and secrecy's 33 and order's 33 and Chavin's 33. And yesterday on 3/3, the 62nd day of the year, we got a new police bill named after George Floyd. And I got to research this more because I was watching what CNN was saying about it this morning, and there was some language about more surveillance. I was like, oh, so the George Floyd police bill has greater surveillance? He said it real quick, so I was like, okay, I got to look into that. But, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, everything they're doing is just to build a greater surveillance state, so it only makes sense. George Floyd. Again, in the book, I talk about how it's all connected, from coronavirus to George Floyd to 9/11. It's all in here. How it's all about building the police surveillance state. And, yeah, so we'll see if anything happens with their hyped up fear campaign for the militias that might attack the Capitol that's now fortified with military and walls and fences. If anything does happen, understand it will be undercover police and military. And again, they're just continuing with that whole Civil War theme. That's why they're doing this on 4/3. Just like the last one was on 6/1, like the Civil War began in 1861. Don't forget, QAnon's a Jesuit psyop. QAnon's got the same gematria as Google. It's got the 61. It's got the 6120, just like Google. Again, how did QAnon go viral? Because of Google. And when you use Jewish gematria, the most important ciphers outside of the base cipher, it's 201. That's like the Jesuit order. And just like I told you 3 years ago when this thing took off, I said Q is a psyop being put out by big tech, and in the future they'll use it to discredit us all. They'll probably all accuse us of being that. And just look, they're sticking QAnon labels on my videos now. That's how scummy big tech is. They take down my stuff for misinformation, and then they label me with slander and defamation. And that's why we got to organize and get out the pitchforks, you guys, because there's a lot of big tech nerds that should be stuck to a tree with a pitchfork through them, truly. There's a lot of young scumbags that are out there writing these algorithms and helping create this surveillance state, and they know what they're doing is wrong, but they get paid several $100,000 a year. And trust me, I got to talk to a bunch of them when I was working in Seattle driving for Uber and Lyft. Every time I pick one up, and I mean, I'd pick up several people at the big tech companies a day, drive them to their house to work, but between stops, going from Google to Amazon to Microsoft. They're making their pit stops. They're all working together. And I'd talk to a bunch of them about the censorship and everything going on, and some of them would be like, yeah, I think it's pretty messed up, and then other ones would be like, well, I mean, we're only censoring the conspiracy theorists. And, in a better world in the Wild West, I would have just turned around and shot him right there and dumped him off on the street and explained to the sheriff, well, he's just another loser who didn't respect free speech. Sheriff would be like, all right, someday I'm going to make you the sheriff. But we don't live in that world anymore. And sadly, we need to get back to that world. We need to get back to the world where we have rights and values and decency, and we're not occupied with bullshit and tyranny and what government told us and what false religion told us. Stuff like thou shalt not kill. That's the most bullshit teaching there ever was. How do you think the world got so fucked up? How many scumbags roam the street because you can't do anything about it? I had a scumbag neighbor who I helped out, and then he came over and burglarized my house. Back in the Wild West, it would have been no problem. I just would have went over there, blew his head off, took his whole house. Here, you want to take my shit from my house? I'll take your life and your whole house. And now we're square. And I would just explain it to the sheriff, and the sheriff would be like, no problem. You need me help burying that piece of shit, Paul? No problem at all. I got this one. I'll, burn a few calories here, putting Paul in the ground where he belongs. And again, there's nothing wrong with saying any of this stuff, you guys. What's wrong with the world is our rights and liberties and common sense, and all this has been taken from us, Think about how many dummies walk the street that don't need to. Could be a lot more fertilizer. So, anyway, pull your head out of your ass, America. Wake up. I'm not wrong. If you think I'm wrong, you're too sensitive. You're probably swallowing too much water full of estrogen. You probably don't know your ass from your elbows. And it's not good. It's not good. If it was a nation of me, we wouldn't be where we are today. Period. End of discussion. We're up Schitt's Creek because we live in Moronville. All right, Truth Seeker.